I am bridging together two different videos this week. We have our LCS, we have Russ Bright, Mill Geek Comics, because we chat about trending comics a lot.
Every single week, we talk about the hottest mover and shakers, and a lot of times those include brand new books.
But that's not enough, because we have the back issues. We have the big boy books, too. So you got to get the guns. We got Gem Mint Collectibles, who's on the line today.
Worlds are indeed colliding as we're taking the trending list and the hot 10 to make one definitive hottest comic books of 2023 video.
Like and subscribe. We talk about a lot of comic books all throughout the week, and we have two covers to report on each number as we go down the list. If you own any of these, if you bought any of these, let me know in the comment section below. Number 10 on the list, the hottest back issue of the year. We have Power Girl starting us out. With All-Star Comics number 58, whether it be James Gunn's spec or the multiple runs that are coming out throughout 2023, this cover and this book be hot.
You guys remember this book? We haven't spoken about it since August of 2023. It was really a book that was hot in the beginning of the year. A lot of Flash speculation. Were we going to get Power Girl in the Flash movie? Which didn't happen. We got a different version of Supergirl. But this one's interesting because I can still see James Gunn utilizing this character in the future. We got a notable sale here from 2023, a CGC 9.8 that sold for $3,240 back in April. That was just 7% below the all-time high of $3,500 that was set the year prior.
Power Girl gets so many different variant covers throughout the year that it, I think, helps maintain her relevance. The $2,000 marker was reached on a 9.8. That is far lower than that high that Gem Mint just reported on. We have number 10 also on the list, a book that came out this past year, Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 5.
Now, again, this was a brand new book this year featuring the first appearance of Crystal Katani as Dream Spider. $15 average sales is what this book is going for, and it happened to make the trending list twice. Now, as a testament to how little we think this book has steam going forward, we didn't even remember this book being on the list. So a lot of times with these new books, it could be a flash in the pan, or it could be something a little bit long-term spec. So keep your eyes out for a Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 5. A 9.8 recently went for $77, so someone believes there's something to this book.
When we chatted about this book at first, there was only 30 copies on the census at a 9.8. Since then, which has been a while, there's been an increase of over 100 at a 9.8. People sent their copies down.
Which brings us to number 9 of the hottest back issues. Of course, it's Batman Adventures 12, the first comic book appearance of Harley Quinn, and this one is still relevant now as we have the sequel to the Joker coming out this year.
9.8 newsstand hit $5,760. This book was teetering around $2,500 to $3,000, and now it's selling for closer to $2,000 at a 9.8 direct. I think this is a perpetually relevant book, one that is constantly on our hot 10 list because there's so much potential long term, even if there's not a whole lot going on in 2024, as it pertains to both Marvel and DC, to be honest.
Number 9 of the 2023 trending list, we have The Sickness number 1, which seems to be a case of an indie book, just be an indie. $12 average sales, and we did talk about this book because the low print run was driving a lot of people to go out and try and find copies. They were selling for a lot of money on eBay, which caused some people to think that it may have been a product of market speculation, whether it's low print run or whether someone is just trying to press this book. It was a creepy book, although the distance between issue number 1 and issue number 2, it was like 3.5, 4 months. So people had a very long time to wait to see what happened in this story.
We chatted about this book at first. There was like 5 copies on the census. Since then, there's been an increase of 50 at a 9.8. Indie books are great spec opportunities for sure, but you always have to apply the fact that because it's likely going to have a lower print run out the gate, it is not surprising to see them selling for more than double cover. There's a handful of books on here that I'm really excited about, even less that I am actually banking on that are going to maintain as we go into 2024. But I digress because we got to get to number 8 on the list because this is a hot book that wouldn't come off the list. It's down a little bit, and it's got me interested. We have The Last of Us, American Dreams number 1. This came out in 2013. This is a modern book, but I think that it's ranking amongst blue chip books for good reason, because the show is so stellar.
We started talking about this book in January, and the last time we spoke about it was in March. It's down right now, and that's going to be the best time to pick this up because season 2 of The Last of Us has been announced.
The notable sale that we reported on this year for this book was $1,699. You can get one for closer to $850 right now. It's down, but the show is coming back. And I want to know if you watched it, because it was one of my favorite shows of all of 2023. And then we have a book by Mark Millar, the number 8 most trending book of the year. Again, cover price covers going for double, if not more.
Number 8 on the list, another fantastic entry into the Millarverse. We have Ambassadors number 1. And this is a great case for why you should pick up the Key Collector app, because this was actually never on the trending 10. It was on the larger 20 list, but it showed up so many times. This book is consistently selling for $12 average sales, even though we had a recent 9.8 sale at only $26. It's kind of a cool concept where people are pitching to see how they're going to be one of the 6 people in the world that will get superpowers. Another great idea from Mark Millar.
I'm hearing so many people talk about this book, and I have not read it yet. Last GPA sale was only $26. There's only 52 9/8 on the census. Yo, we may not see anything for quite a long time, but Mark Millar stuff hits the screen constantly. It may not be there long, but it does hit the screen.
I gotta say, Russ, that was such a great Key Collector plug, but it's true, man. You guys need to download the app. Use code TOM101 for a free 2-week subscription.
Yo, we cover so many comic books all year long, and we've been doing it for so long, and without Key Collector, we would not be able to do it to the extent that we do. We not only use this app on a daily basis, we rely on it to provide the most accurate comic book information, whether it be is just getting way too long. Just download Key Collector Comics. Use the code support the show. Let's get back to the list because Star Wars is on it. This is a back issue, okay? Number 7, hottest back issue in the world. It's got to be Heir to the Empire, number 1. First appearance of Grand Admiral Thrawn, which was cool in the show debut, but wow, was it underwhelming to me. What do you think?
Yeah, it did not meet the hype that it had. This book was so hot for the majority of the year, and now it's not. There is a notable sale of a 9.8 newsstand that sold for $2,354. That was back in April, and that was less than its all-time high of $5,000 that was set in 2021. I can only imagine what they're looking like right now.
Yeah, real talk. I'm feeling not great about this book because I purchased a 9.8 around the $1,500 marker because I was thinking this was going to be a great bet. The next Darth Vader, the Star Wars mythos, yeah, you can pick up a 9.8 for like $675. Let's talk about a trending book now.
Number 7 on the list, another case of it was hot, but now it's not. Batman, the Gargoyle of Gotham, number 1, the Ash Can. This book looked so good, and when we found out there was a 1 per store, people clamored, and we're going crazy to spend $30 on this. But it's a miniseries. It's a DC Black Label book, so it's not officially in continuity. It's a good read, but you can get literally the same thing to read at cover price everywhere. So this Ash Can is cool. If you want a copy, there are none graded on the census right now because it's a little bit bigger. You might want to get it graded just if you think this has any legs, but it's a cool book, but this may be the last time we ever mention it on a list.
Yeah, $30 average sales for this bad boy. As you said, not on the census, but it was so needed this year. A dark, gritty, mature take on The Dark Knight that I recommend everybody to be put it on their pull list, but there haven't been any Black Label books that I can recall that are like investment worthy. Cool for your PC, but if it doesn't have Bruce Wayne's pee-pee, it isn't worth any money, apparently.
Right, that's the exact thing. You need to see the Batawang or else it's worth nothing.
And I said pee-pee. Hit the like button.
I was going to say, when you mentioned DC Black Label, I think of Batman Damned, and unfortunately, I think of the Bruce Wang. But the number 6 hottest back issue from 2023 is Ultimate Fallout 4. Still a hot book. It was really hot for the first 9 months of the year, and we haven't really spoken about it in Q4. But we did get the news in May of 2023. Amy Pascal said we will be getting a live-action version of Miles Morales, and when that happens, this book is going to go nuclear.
Yo, you guys remember when this book hit $4,500 at a 9.8?
Wow.
You ready for this? You buckled up, comic fam? $1,200. Last GPA sale for a CGC 9.8.
Everyone I know has gotten as many copies as they can graded. I know people who are like, hey, do you know someone looking to buy 5 or 10 9/8 of this book? Because, yeah, everyone rushed to get it graded. It was the hottest thing, and it just took a while and cooled off. Supply and demand is a thing.
Yo, the 1 in 25, 9.8 height was reached in January of this past year for $4,300.
43,000.
$43,000. Thank you, Jem. It's because, like, honestly, what it's going for now is closer to the number I just mistakenly said.
Right.
Ugh.
It's crazy how much the 1 in 25 Jurdovic variant has dropped. Still a beautiful book, but you can get it for less than $10,000 in a 9.8.
Yeah, last week a copy sold for $9,500, but let's keep it real. That $43,000 sale was insane.
That's so low, dude. I don't think that book is worth $10,000. I think it's worth more.
And the amount of times that we were talking about like blue chip Silver Age books that are down 40%, it's crazy to think of a book that was so hot. It's a modern book, and for it to be down 75% from market height is just insane. Miles Morales is going nowhere. He's been in multiple animated movies. We're planning on seeing him at some point in time in a live action. This is just crazy to think how high the mighty have fallen.
All right, number 6, most trending book that came out last year, selling for double, if not more, cover price. $8 average sales on Amazing Spider-Man 31. This is the first appearance of Mary Jane as Jackpot. This was like one of the bigger characters to debut over at Marvel. And yeah, not a whole lot of people loving the recent ASM run.
People really don't like this run. I have people who are diehard ASM readers who have been dropping off left and right, whether they don't like Zeb Wells' writing or
everybody on this call right now,
right,
complains about John Romita Jr.
And
I don't mind John Romita Jr. He drew Kick-Ass. It's not that great, but it's decent. But you and Jem both.
There's an amazing run of Uncanny X-Men covers he did. There's absolutely some things that Romita Jr. has done that have really cemented his legacy in the industry. This Amazing Spider-Man run and those covers is not one of them. Amazing Spider-Man 31, we're bringing back Jackpot. It's Mary Jane as Jackpot. $8 average sales, and there was a lot of hype there because there was a new Jackpot miniseries. People were excited about the character coming back, but really, I think the Amazing Spider-Man 31 is one of those you're probably going to find on the wall at an LCS for cover price because people just aren't buying them.
Now, I'm with you, Tom. I'm a fan of John Romita Jr., but I am not a fan of the work that he's doing on this Spider-Man run. A lot of square-faced Peter Parker going on. I don't know what he's doing.
Halfway through the list, hit the like, slap the subscribe button, join the mystery mail call. 1 per box is a Batman 121 first appearance of Mr. Freeze by none other than Raph Grissetti. Link in the description. Number 5, hottest back issue, dominant key comic book of 2023. It's got to be Star Wars #1. I think the prices are getting too low. The heights this book reached was near $10K. That was back in 2022. 12-month average, closer to $4,000. Last GPA sale, how does it feel, Jem? $2,600.
Honestly, I think with the recent Star Wars news that price is going to go even lower, making it the best time ever to buy this book if you're a Star Wars comic book fan.
There was a 9.4 35-cent variant that sold for $50,400, a major notable sale. It was almost matching the all-time height for that scarce collectible, but I think that demonstrates the power of Star Wars, you know? Also, that the scarcer the books, the less market conditions actually affect these types of collectibles.
Oh, number 5 on the list, it's a Star Wars twin. Star Wars number 34, first appearance of Dr. Kuwata, $8 average sales, and Dr. Kuwata is the one that helped Luke fix his broken lightsaber. This is a character that people were really, really excited about, and I believe, as far as Star Wars mythos goes, we will be seeing more of them in some upcoming Disney Plus show.
$8 average sales. This is Star Wars history told within the comic that caused a lot of interest for months on end. This book had 0 9/8 when we first discussed it. Since then, 120 have been added to the census, all at a 9.8. That's a hell of a lot. This character debuted like 7 years in a novel. It took till May 4th for them to debut in the comics to fill in a gap of Star Wars history that had yet to be told, and then told through funny books brilliantly, which engaged so many Star Wars readers to be picking up their comics and to stick around for this entire arc, making this book land so high on the list for this last year review.
Moving on to number 4 on the hottest back issues. I'm so used to reporting this as number 1. It's Uncanny X-Men issue 130, the first appearance of Dazzler. We have a notable sale of a 9.8 UK price variant selling for $2,255, which was in October of last year. You could get a regular CGC 9.8 for $1,710, which was the last GPA sale, which is higher than the current 12-month average, coming in at $1,500, but still shy of the all-time record high set in October of 2021 during the comic boom before the Dazzler rumors, when it sold for $3,050.
This right here could be awesome spec or a terrible spec. Like, if Taylor Swift does not show up as Dazzler, there are so many people buying Dazzler for no reason.
I love this cover. I love this book. I think people are paying too much, regardless of whether Taylor Swift could be Dazzler or not. Dazzler was already in the X-Men Phoenix movie, right? So,
number 4 on the list of most trending books that came out in 2023. Double, if not more, cover price. Wakanda, number 4. This is hitting $8 average sales. Last GPA sale for a 9.8 was $61, which is about average. This is the first appearance of Kime, the love interest of Tosin, who would have ranked on the same list in 2022 for their debut. It's ties to the same character interest, but also the Wakanda show that was announced in the last few months has actually spiked up this entire run.
people are definitely betting on Tosin. People are definitely betting on Kime. And Eyes of Wakanda is going to put more eyes on more characters from Wakanda that you may have very little knowledge of. These minor keys are definitely picking up traction.
Wolverine 41, Trade and Virgins. We have sets. We have a Sabretooth versus Wolverine. Jim Lee, homage to issue number 5 by Miko Suyan. ComicTom101.store, link in the description. If you join our newsletter by going to the link in the description, like a window pops up right when you land on the webpage. Put your email in. It'll enter you to win not just our ASM 300 giveaway we're doing this month, but all giveaways going forward. Number 3, biggest back issue to be purchased all year long. We're putting Omega Man number 3 here. First appearance of Lobo. That Jason Momoa spec was strong, and I would argue stronger than Taylor Swift. But that news did happen later in the year. We'll see how Taylor does.
Notable sale for this in a CGC 9.8 was $458. That was in February and just shy of the Comic Boom's all-time high of $462. The last GPA sale, quite lower though, $264, below that 12-month average of $340. But if the Jason Momoa rumors are true, I can see this one hitting the hot 10 a lot more this year.
The price hasn't moved much, although down a little bit. The census count on this book for 9/8 has been insane. It's been going up by the month, every month for over a year.
Number 3 on the list, a book that I believe may very well have legs or claws, depending on how you look at it. Wolverine number 36, the first appearance of Helverine. This made the trending list multiple times. Book had a second print. We know 9/8s were going for a great crazy price, but $20 average sales is still holding very solidly for the fact that people are thinking we may very well see a great mashup of the Helverine, the Wolverine and Ghost Rider together in the very near future.
For a book that's selling quadruple cover price and 9/8s breaking $100 and post-debut on the uptick, this book has ranked at number 3. Clearly, it's one of the hottest new characters in the world, but it's not the hottest new character in the world. Stay tuned.
As we get into the second book on the list for the hottest back issues, you know, Deadpool 3 was all the rage when it comes to comic book speculation, and New Mutants 98 is coming in at number 2. The first appearance of Deadpool, notable sale of a CGC 9.9. It sold for $40,250 in June, just shy of the $42,000 all-time record high.
There are only 12 9/9s and one sold copy of a 10.0 that's never been sold publicly. The 9/8s of this book are down, yes. I mean, it hit $3,000 at certain points in the last 3 years. It's sold for $1,300 recently, but despite an uptick of 26.98 in just the last couple weeks alone. Clearly, this has been happening all year long. Seeing a $1,300 price on this isn't down by much in my eyes. I think this is a $1,500+ book always. The supply's just meeting the demand.
Number 2 on the list, a book that's probably going to cause a little bit of conversation, Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, number 1. We are reporting $50 average sales and $200 for CGC 9.8. Anthropomorphic book. We've got a serial killer who is burying bodies in the ground. It's dark, it's creepy, and realistically, we've only been talking about this for the last 3 months or so, and it is hot. This book is not going anywhere, so it very deservedly is at number 2 on the trending books of 2023.
There's no option news on this book. It's all hype. It's great. I'm excited about it. But at least when Stray Dogs dropped, there was option status granted, warranting the investment that was happening, pushing that book up to above $300 at certain points in the year. And that book has dropped and had a mighty fall, and it's still option. This book does not have that situation happening. Seeing $200 sales, it makes sense because there's only 32.98 on the census. Get to grading. Look for them raw. But I'm going to be watching this book very closely.
Is there any question what the hottest back issue of 2023 was going to be? You know what it is. I know what it is. It's Wolverine, issue number 1 from the Frank Miller miniseries. We've talked about this book almost every single week since Deadpool 3 was announced.
A 9.9 sold for $23,500 this year, guys. But real talk, when this book started to pick up steam, it wasn't picking up steam because of Deadpool. It started picking up steam because the book was approaching like this $550 marker at a 9.8, and that is not what this book is worth. I thought $550 was looking so attractive that you should be really watching it. The census count started to blow up. There's been 6 new 9.8s added to the census in the last 7 days. It's selling right now, 9.8s for $573. It went up to $700-800, and people are still paying for that, but there was a sale where someone grabbed it for under $6. This is a great time to get this book. I don't care if Wolverine is even in Deadpool 3. This is too cool of a book, Frank Miller cover. It deserves to be selling for more.
Wolverine number 1 made the list 71% of the time during 2023, and although Tom just mentioned that last sale at $573, we saw a sale of $900 last week, the average being $685, so it just goes to show you, if you're patient, you can still pick this one up for a decent price.
The number 1 trending book of 2023 isn't selling doubled in cover price, it's quadrupled cover price. The single most exciting character to debut in comic books was a Marvel book, and it happened in Spider-Man number 7.
People went crazy buying Spider-Boy number 1, but the pinnacle absolutely was Spider-Man number 7 for his first appearance and Spider-Man number 8 for his first full appearance. These are definitely books you should have on your want list, as Spider-Boy is a young character that we will definitely be seeing more of in the future.
439.8s are registered on the census. The heights it reached was 200. It did drop a bit. The 12-month average is under $100 right now. It's 91, but the last sale clocked in at 135. It shows you that there is opportunity in this new character if you are basing it off of the community's interest, in which there is a lot. Hit the like, slap the subscribe button. We're going to be here every single week covering not just the trending comic books, but the hottest books in the world. And we want you here along for the ride. Have a happy new year. And as always,
Geek responsibly.
And stay minty fresh.
enough said.